Okay, now in this video we're going to look at particular equations broken down to quadratics. So we call this equations reducible, breaking it down to quadratic equations. So here we've got a particular equation that kind of looks like a quadratic equation, except we have different powers. Now if we substitute m for x squared, what we'll notice is this particular term, x to the power of 4, x to the power of 4 is in fact x squared squared, and then we end up getting an x squared in there. So I'm going to replace any letter. I'm going to use m. You could use any substitute. So let's use m for this particular example. So that becomes m squared. Then let's take away 5 lots of m plus 4 is equal to 0. So there's our substitution. We can solve this by factorizing. So two numbers that multiply to give positive 4 and add to give negative 5. And those two numbers are negative 4 and negative 1. So we have our two solutions. M is equal to 1 or it's equal to 4. But because the question was in terms of x, we can't leave our answer in terms of m. We've introduced m, so we need to go back and solve it for x. So remember, m is equal to x squared. So instead of m is equal to 1, x squared is equal to 1. And instead of m is equal to 4, x squared is equal to 4. Now we have two simple quadratics. Take the square root of both sides, and we end up getting x is equal to plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2. So this particular equation has four solutions, plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2. If you substitute any of those four answers, you'll end up getting 0. So that will be four solutions. Test it out to make sure that that is correct. Okay, pause the video, have a go at using a substitute to end up solving this particular equation. Okay, so as I said earlier, you can use any type of letter to substitute. I'm going to use m again just for convenience. So m is equal to x squared. So then we've got m squared, take away m, take away 12 is equal to 0. So then we have a product of negative 12 and a sum of negative 1. So I'm looking at 3 and 4. For it to have a sum of negative 1, it would be negative 4 and positive 3. So now we end up solving this for m. We have negative 3 and positive 4. Now let's substitute back our x squared. So x squared is equal to negative 3 or x squared is equal to positive 4. Remembering that x squared is always going to be a positive or 0. So it cannot be equal to a negative. So that's why we have no solution for that particular one. And we have x squared is equal to 4, giving us our two solutions, plus or minus 2. So therefore x is equal to plus or minus 2. Okay, pause the video, have a go at question 3 and question 4. We've had a look at two examples that are pretty close to question 3. Question 4 is a little bit different. Have a go at that. If you have any issues, write your questions down and ask the teacher. So here are the solutions for those equations. Question 3, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3. And question 4, we have two answers, 0 and positive 3. Okay, thanks for watching the video on equations that can be broken down or reducible to quadratics.